Hey everybody. It comes with a heavy heart that I have to say this year of 2024 I'm not going to be doing the annual astrology picnic. For the past 2 years I've been hosting a picnic in Denver for the astrology community here as a way. It's kind of like a middle finger to the bigger astrology orgs. They didn't do any sort of community stuff during COVID and during 2021 and 2022. In 2023 and now 2024, they required, masks, vaccine passports, testing, and it was just not. It was just something I felt as if really inhibited the actual community part of astrology. And so I threw an annual astrology picnic out in one of the parks. There's like a bajillion parks here in Denver, and they were awesome. In 2022. We had about like 40, 50 people come. It was great. It was a super sunny day. We had people from literally all across the country come. A lot of Denver people, but we had New Mexico, Arizona, Utah. A couple people flew in. And last year we did it too. Unfortunately, we got insanely rained on about like maybe 2.5 hours into it. And but it was good. Another 40, 50 people. We ended up, going to, I think, Punch Bowl Social afterwards. And yeah, it was really good. And I was able to I shouldn't say make people, but like I got a lot of people connected to people in astrology, which is, unfortunately, this is a very isolating practice, and we can all become friends online, but it's really those in-person connections that are really strong. But, the reason I'm not doing it this year is, I don't even want to talk about this, to be honest with you guys. But I feel as if I kind of owe it as an explanation, but, I have dealt with a lot of shit in the past year, more notably over the past 2 years, where I had a woman that was on the Telegram channel that I originally had for Patreon, and she exhibited some mental behaviors that were concerning, and I never interacted with her, but I kind of kicked her out, and long story short, this is about 2 years ago, mind you. She apparently went missing. And her family reached out to me saying that she's missing and she says she's with you. And I was like, I don't even know this. I don't know this woman. I've never talked to her. I'm just the guy on the internet. Like, I'm really sorry about this, but like, I'm not involved. And, please don't involve me because that's terrifying. And she was, I think, eventually found. There's a couple Instagrams that she has, of me, like, and stuff like that. And she's got me blocked and everything, and so it was weird. And then, over 2 years ago, back in I think or 2023, I had another person, very similar situation, and I'm going to explain the astrology side of this in just a minute because you guys, I think, would benefit from seeing how this shows up in my life, astrology wise. But last year I got, and here's the deal. Like, I made a video about the astrology girl that unfortunately took the life of her boyfriend and her child and wrapped her car around a pole. And, I've talked about that this is some real shit. This is a real thing, and that negative entities and all that stuff, it's very real. And I get schizophrenic comments, emails, every now and then. I've dealt with stalkers and stuff like that. And it's just a part of being an internet personality. It's a part of doing the spiritual stuff. But a chain of events happened last year that were kind of overwhelming. One of them being, I got a group of emails that were about 50 of them in a row, 50 of them. All gigantic messages, not sentences. And they were pretty concerning. They were schizophrenic. They were, I don't want to go into the details, but they were enough for me to want to get the authorities involved. And so I did. Around that time, I was also told, I also discovered that I was under investigation by the Denver police for being a potential mass shooter. So that news was really hard for me to deal with. It's hard for me to not get emotional talking about it right now because I try my best to be a good person and to, again, like, I do this because I'm so passionate about astrology and helping people. But, I don't know how they got contacted, what happened. But anyway, that had happened. I found out I was under investigation for being a potential mass shooter, which was and the astrology behind that's really crazy. I'll show it to you, but that was really concerning. And then I got these emails, about 50 in a row, that were really concerning, and I called the authorities. And literally the day I was talking to the police, did a police report, all that stuff, I get a phone call an hour later from the FBI. And the FBI agent spoke to me and said, he said he came to my house, but he couldn't get in because of the situation that I live in. And he also called and said that someone gave an anonymous tip that, I'm buying guns and I want to harm people, which is, it's one of those things where it's really hard to not take it as a personal attack on like my character, on my integrity, on my, on my own morality. I've talked before on my channel that, I own firearms and I'm into guns and stuff like that. And just for someone to take that to a level where the FBI gets involved is, really troubling. I have, and please don't feel bad for me. I get so much out of being a YouTuber and doing this work, both, as a career, but as it's a very cool life that I get to live. But that was just a hard thing to deal with. And so, I talked to the FBI and explained to him that, hey, I just got off the phone with the police, having to put in, a police report about a very disturbing person, saying a lot of really just obscure things to enough where I felt like I had to call the authorities. And so because of that, it's hard for me to not have my guard up. And the shitty part about the FBI thing is that's just on, you don't really get away. They don't just go, he's fine. I mean, like, after I talked to the FBI guy for a while and kind of explained him the situation, he was like, yeah, you're fine. This is clearly like a doxing kind of event or something like that, which made me feel really good. But it's just one of those things where, I was very concerned of the FBI raiding my house, and, whatever. I get raided by the FBI. They shoot me. I die. Like, I'm fine. Like, I live a life that I'm blessed by, and that, like, I'm not afraid to die any day. It's just I was very concerned about my neighbors. My neighbors are great people. I didn't want them to feel as if they had a psychopath living next to them. And, my mom was very upset. That took a toll on my family for a minute. And, but I went about my merry way. And that was back in October. I'm going to show you guys the chart for when all that happened. But a couple days ago, I got another email from the crazy person. This email, however, stated, and again, these weren't very clear, actionable, tangible lines. It was just a mess of stuff, but it involved purchasing a gun and harming someone. Who they were trying to harm, I really couldn't make that out. And this person lives in Denver. And so I contacted the police. They said that this person has warrants out for their arrest. But if you're familiar with how the justice system works, a warrant for their arrest doesn't mean much. This person could possibly get a signature bond, which a signature bond is essentially, you can pretty much do whatever you want. The DA or the judge gives you a signature bond. You pretty much sign and say, I pinky promise to go to court the next day or go to court whenever my court date is, and they just let them out. I'm just trying not to get emotional during this. I can't put anyone at risk. And I take your guys' safety and my safety very seriously. And as much as I want to do the picnic, as much as I like bringing people together, I can't do it. Not at least while this person is out and about. And I just can't spend every waking moment checking the inmate search and seeing if they've been arrested or what their bail is, if they post bail, and if they get help or not. And there's a part of me that gets very upset about this person. And the other part of me has a lot of extreme empathy for clearly someone going through a schizophrenic, meltdown at this point. And it's a really hard line when you feel as if your life is on the line, but you also understand that it's not necessarily about you. But I just can't have anyone at risk. And it sucks that this is the situation. And I've even thought about like, oh, well, what if I just did an event without myself, and I just can't guarantee any safety. Unfortunately, in the city of Denver, there's a lot of gun-free zones. Where I live, I go to a park all the time to go and walk, and it's a gun-free zone, so I can't conceal carry there because I try to be a law-abiding citizen. And a couple months ago, there was a guy with an AK with a couple hundred rounds that he didn't shoot anybody. He was killed by the police in a shootout. Luckily, he didn't murder anybody, but it's one of those things where I couldn't even protect you guys if I wanted to legally. I'm not allowed to bring, my own concealed carry to a park. But criminals can, by the way. And because it doesn't matter. And I've thought about hiring private security, but that's also just kind of like, what does that mean to hire private security for something like this? And I put it on for free. It's cost me money each time, and I have no problem spending the money. But what if this person comes in, harms a security guard, and then it's like, okay, is it armed police? And then are you guys going to feel uncomfortable or unsafe because there's an armed guard there? And it's just a lot. And it's, the reason I'm so worked up right now is it really sucks having to put it in this way. But I just can't be in a position where I put anyone in harm. I just can't. And if anything happened, even if, let's say, this person just wanted to shoot me, and no one else was harmed, I couldn't live with just the idea of everyone else being there. And so I can't do the picnic. It's just the price I pay, I guess, for being online and having an audience and talking about, I guess, spiritual stuff is you deal with this. I can't really speak to it right now, but this does not mean I'm not going to do events. It just means I have to do in-person events very differently, which is what I really want to move forward with because again, I think the power in something like astrology is being able to connect people of all different walks of life. Like that's what was amazing about the picnic. God, there were so many different kinds of people there, all being able to relate on one topic, different walks of life, different political views, being able to just connect on astrology. And I just thought that was really, really cool because this day and age, it's everything's so polarizing. And especially too, the bullshit, astrology, orgs and they make you, do a COVID test and, they had vaccine passports and mask mandates. And it's just so ridiculous. Even if you're for those things, it's like, we can't, like, if you want to go to an event with a bunch of people, like take your own risk. Why make everyone else go through something that they don't want to go through? And it was just that was something I was very passionate about. Because, whether you're, pro all of the, the COVID stuff or anti it, whatever, it's just, for me personally, I wanted to create an environment where those things didn't matter. Because that's one less barrier of entry. And again, I would rather focus on bringing people together for astrology, not because, they test COVID free or whatever the fuck that means. So I'm going to be doing in-person events. It just means I have to do them differently. As much as I want to do this picnic, and I've thought about even charging money for it as a way to have, control over who comes in and who doesn't come in and stuff like that. I can't risk it. I can't risk it. I couldn't live with myself, and I can't do that to anybody. And maybe that's me coming from a space of fear. But it's one of those things that, I don't even know if I'd be able to enjoy the picnic because I would be very worried about that. And again, for me, like if someone randomly fucking shoots me, and trust me, I'm going to show you guys the astrology part about this in a second. I've accepted that. It's just everybody else. It's not fair to you guys. I don't want to put you guys in a situation that just might even be slightly unsafe. So I haven't talked about a lot of this because it's hard to talk about. I don't want people to think that, oh, Cam has, the fucking FBI after him, so he's crazy, which is a really shitty thing for someone, to have against them. I've already been completely, I don't want to say blacklisted, but the wider astrology community doesn't really like me. I've said some edgy stuff on Twitter, and that's where a lot of the major astrology players really live, and they didn't like that, and they attacked my race and my gender. You know, I had like inward tweets when I was 14 that got resurfaced after I deleted them like 5 years. Like literally, I got canceled for tweets I deleted 5 years ago for tweets I made when I was 14. And because of that, people I had at my house, people I had over for dinner, people that I helped move in their stuff, people that I genuinely considered my friends were no longer my friends anymore. And so I have a lot of people in the astrology community that don't like me. I've had falling outs with a lot of the elders in the astrology community, and that puts me in a position where I'm already not liked, and that's been hard when you are trying to make a name for yourself in a space where no one likes you. And for me, I just don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do whatever I want. But you know, when you get stuff like this, and you know, police and the FBI are starting to investigate you, you start being like, "Damn, is everyone against me here?" And you know, I made a community post the other day about, you know, I make drug analogies, and you know, I don't even do drugs anymore. I haven't done cocaine in 5 years. I had one glass of tequila the other night. And I was so fucked up the next day from it that like I can't even drink anymore. I don't even smoke weed anymore. But, and you know, then I made the Trump video, and it was just all of these comments of you must be this right-wing Nazi person because I didn't absolutely go on the floor wailing my hands and fists saying Trump bad, Trump bad. And I try to create a nuanced community, and it's fucking hard. It's fucking hard. And again, you know, a lot of people say to ignore the comments, and trust me, I fucking do. I ignore a lot of them, but there's a lot of shit that just weighs on you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when I can't, it just struggle. And again, I know there's so many of you that support me and that love me, and I fucking love you guys, but I'm a human being. So I read all the positive comments. I don't think of anything of it, but then I see the negative comment. I'm like, whoa, I get all worked up, and it's like, and it's so silly. It's so silly. I hate it, but it's just, you know, it just weighs on you. You know, for people to get the FBI involved in my life, that's genuinely terrifying. I look at that as you genuinely put my life on the line. I'm very grateful no one's busted through my door. Very grateful no one shot me. You know, it's pretty much all I could say about it. And you guys wonder why I've, you know, been so much more on my Jesus shit. Like when you do this work for a living, you know, fuck your gay little black magic. Fuck your little spells. Shit ain't gonna, like, I've just gotten to the point where I've seen so much shit. I had a buddy of mine. I had to go to a funeral last year. And this funeral was really weighed on me. A kid I grew up with my whole life. Played every sport with this kid. I got into BMX and he got into skateboarding at the same time. He's an amazing skateboarder, funny guy. He was into music. He was drum, and I just grew up with this kid. I known him my whole life. I'm from Cherry Valley, California, and we kind of joke about it being called Scary Valley because this is something my grandpa told me. They used to take the Native Americans back in the 1800s and hang them in the hills, and so there's a lot of people that think that it's haunted, which it fucking is. And one time, this kid I grew up with, him and a buddy of mine, another buddy I knew, found a house that just had like 30, I think, pets hanging from nooses on the ceiling, and it really fucked them up. And ever since that kid, I call him a kid, he's, you know, like 28. I mean, he would be 28, 29 or something like that. He passed away last year. He got really into demonology and to a level of, you know, us practiced astrologers, we talk about, you know, Ptolemy, Masha'Allah, Abu Mashar. We talk about Paul of Alexandria, Pretorius. He was that level of demonology. And I know witches, pagans, Satanists, and they're not even fucking close to what that kid was at. That kid was to a level where he made a deal with a demon that I saw fuck up his life and his family's life. And I grew up in a very Christian community. My parents are very it's a small town. I know everyone in that small town, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I know everyone. And we're very connected to the church. My stepdad, humble farmer, has helped out so many churches, and because I was you know, the son of a farmer, I fucking, you know, you end up helping out a lot of churches because doing work or doing whatever. And long story short, another family friend of ours lived down the street from this kid that was into demon stuff. And about a week or two before he died, he offered for him to come to this men's group. a Christian men's group. And throughout that time, this kid, I just don't want to put out his name there, he was very interested in receiving the word of God, and but there was a fucking demon in him, and each time they brought it up, they literally sang. They were doing what is it called in church when you sing songs like praise and worship, and my friend literally had this like physical reaction to it that was like he was literally like spitting and what is it? Not vomiting. Like when you have like rabies, and these aren't fake stories. These are people that like. These are people that would have no incentive to lie over this. And I found this out at his funeral because when I heard that he died, I was like, holy shit. He was fucking with some real shit. I really hope, because there is an afterlife. I do think that there is a heaven and a hell. Maybe we have different views on maybe what that looks like, but I think there's something to that. But anyway, he gave his life to God. I think it was less than a week before he died. And I share that story because I don't shove it down your guys' throats. I really don't. But I share it because I've seen so much shit in the spiritual world that it's the ultimate tool for me. And so I coming back to everything that I've just been talking about, I've got my faith in God. I'm protected by God. I don't have any fear. What I get worried about is everybody else. And, maybe that's just me being a Libra moon. But I want to talk about the chart for a second. Gosh, forgive me for this horrible camera angle. So here's my chart. You guys have seen it before. So when I found out I was being investigated by the Denver police, I want to show you where it was here. It was, where's the moon at? This weekend. So this was the solar eclipse in Libra. It was on my moon, which is my 8th ruler, on October 14th. I knew that eclipse was happening on my moon. I was like, eclipses are bad. Something bad's going to happen. But my sister came into town for the week. We shot a bunch of content. We shot the music video for Captured, did some photo shoots. It was an awesome time. And then 3 days later, I don't want to go into how I found out, but I pretty much essentially got a little tap on the shoulder and was like, by the way, you're being investigated by the Denver Police Department for potential mass shooter. And I'm going to tell you right now, that fucked me up. That really fucked me up. And that was also right when Mars entered my 12th house. It really freaked me out for about 24 hours. Really freaked me out. I cried. Because the first thing you go to is, how did I get on this list? Why would someone think that? Is someone like out to get me? And then you think, who would have done that? And then you just realize there's no point into going down that. Like, who fucking cares who fucking did it? And I'm not a fucking mass shooter, so nothing's going to happen. Took me about 48 hours to get there. But it fucks you up. It's pretty fucking scary when you hear that shit. Like, there's nothing worse than being told you're literally being surveilled. I'm like, are they in my computer? Are they watching my videos? The FBI guy said he watched my videos, and he was like, you don't seem that weird. FBI guy was actually pretty fucking cool, not gonna lie. So now I want to fast forward to December. This Mercury retrograde was when I got the chain of emails that were very terrifying. And I believe it was somewhere around, it wasn't Christmas. Maybe it was when Mercury was in shadow. It was somewhere around the beginning of December. And maybe it was when Mercury was stationing that I got both the chain of emails and the call. Or no, I think I got the chain of emails when Mercury was in shadow. And then I got the call from the FBI when Mercury went retrograde. So that was interesting. And then, of course, we fast forward to now, a couple days ago. I'm really looking at this Mercury Cazimi, but I want to talk a little bit about my chart. For those that watch, a lot of people say I'm really negative in my videos. Pick up any astrology book before the year 1300 and call me back. Pick up any astrology book. Literally just throw a dart at a board. Pick any astrology book up and call me back and tell me you're sorry. And a lot of ancient astrology stuff, it's pretty fucking brutal. It's not, oh, you're going to be your twin flame. Oh, you're going to manifest your dreams. It's not that. It's not that at all. And if you want to take a very Hellenistic, ancient perspective of my chart. My 12th ruler of hidden enemies and assailants is ruled by Scorpio. It's ruled by Mars. In a day chart, where Mars is extra malefic, on my descendant, which is the angle of open enemies in the decan of the executioner. I have had, after getting this online, and by the way, I've had my stalkers come in twos before. Mars and Gemini, I've seen them come in twos. I've seen them come in pairs. So there's a part of my chart that's like, okay, am I just going to be assailed by someone? Am I going to be assassinated by someone? Am I going to be attacked? Which is, again, because it's a natal promise, I've had this before. When I was a very young adult, I've been attacked a lot of times, and my Mars is very malefic, and it shows up in very different ways. You know, my Mars also rules my 5th house of kids, so part of me is like, am I going to be like one of those people that like gets murdered by their children? You know, is my potential wife one day going to die during, pregnancy or something like that? That's just how I look at this in a very negative view. And again, I don't sit and stew on that all day long, but there's a signature in my chart that is ripe for attacking. I'm turning 28 years old in a month. It's weird saying that. It's really weird saying that. With annual perfections, if you're not familiar with annual perfections, I'll be in a 5th house year. So I like the 5th house year. 5th house is a lot of fun, but my angular Mars is going to be activated. I'm not making a prediction that like I'm going to die or anything. It's just, again, coming back to the picnic and, some of my stresses and worries is, I just don't want to put anyone in harm's way. It's the same issue that I have with the FBI. It's like, because if the FBI raids me, they're going to come in guns blazing. I got to put on my hands. Then I got to plead the 5th. They're going to arrest me. We're going to go down somewhere. They're going to fucking sit me in jail for a second. Then they're going to ask for questioning. And then I go, I want my lawyer. Then I got to figure out a lawyer situation. Then they come down and then they talk. And then they realize there's no evidence. There's nothing going on. And then I get released. And then I have to deal with all my neighbors being scared to death that the FBI just raided their building. And now that I'm a fucking weirdo. And again, my neighbors they're all really old. They're all really, really fucking nice. And it's just like, again, if FBI broke down my door and shot me and killed me, fucking whatever. You know what I mean? I'm living my life. I live my life in a way that I'm not going to regret anything if I die. Sure, would I want to do more stuff? Yeah, because I'm 28. I got a whole life to live. But I'm doing it. I'm doing the music. I'm doing the astrology. I'm helping people. I don't have any, if I die, I die. I just don't think of it that way. But I get more worried about what my neighbors think and them feeling unsafe. And that's not fair to them. Same thing with you guys going to a picnic. It's not fair to you guys to feel unsafe, to be put in that harm's way potentially. And I just can't risk it. And I hate to say it, but I just kind of wanted to share about. It's a little complicated up here. Where you want to balance community and having fun with literal safety. It's not an easy thing to balance. And like I said, I'm going to be doing in-person events soon at some point. And they will look very different, but I just don't know if I can host, as of right now, a free community picnic where everyone gets to hang out, eat food, and talk astrology in a beautiful park in Denver. And so I don't know what else to say about that, but this has just been, after I got that email, and I've had people ask about the picnic, I was kind of debating if I wanted to do it. And after I got that, I just couldn't, and I needed to come out with an explanation. And so this is just weighing a lot on my heart right now. I'd ask for your sympathy. I'm sure I'm just going to get called a Trump Nazi in the comments below because that's what everyone says about me. But I really appreciate you guys' support. I would say, don't worry about me. I'm fine. It's just, I do worry about this person, them being potentially harmed or harming someone else. And I think that's really terrifying. And it sucks that I'm in the middle of it, but I don't really look at myself as a victim here. So I don't really know what else to say. This is just on my heart and I'm just kind of ranting. And it's just a really kind of shitty thing to talk about. And I haven't talked about the whole police FBI thing because what am I supposed to say? Does that help anything? But, something I was thinking on the way walking into my building from smoking a cigarette about this video is like, if you ever doubt for a second I don't keep it real, I really hope you could change that thought. I'm being really fucking real with you guys about a lot of shit. And I could say for a fucking fact, a lot of YouTubers don't. I could say for another fact, a lot of astrologers don't. They don't keep it real with you. And this is why I lose followers. This is why I have a lot of people that hate me. This is why I have a lot of people that just want to project what they think I am onto me, even though I'm not that. But if it's one thing I know, it's that I'm fucking real as shit. And you want to call me egotistical or a Leo for saying that? I don't give a fuck. But that's the value I provide here in a fake ass space, which is the astrology community, which is the a YouTube community. Is I'm bringing you some fucking real in a world full of fake. And the real shit is I've got this schizophrenic stalkers wanting to murder me. I've got the FBI investigating me, and it's all a bunch of fucking bullshit. And I've been doing this for months, and I haven't complained. I've been doing this for months, and I'm almost down 30 pounds. Been going to the gym every fucking day. My diet's great. I feel like I'm crushing life right now, and I still don't let those things hold me back. So fuck you and your excuses. Did those things impact me at first? Yes, they did. But I carried on anyway. I was talking to a client about this. It's when you're in the personal development world, the first couple years, they're like fun. But I've been doing this personal development shit for like 10 years now. Maybe even like 11 or 12. As time goes on, the challenges that you face get harder and harder, and they bring it back down more and more to the core. So there's no like facade. It's like, no, we're really actually working on me. I'm really working on me, not my idea of me, not who I want to be, not who my dream of me is, but who I am right now. And you don't have a choice but to be vulnerable. You don't have a choice but to really look at the ugly. And there's been a lot of times where I've let other things slip up, especially my health, my diet. But, I get faced with all these challenges, and I just seem to get rid of something negative in my life, and I only go up. So I'm just yapping at this point. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I know you guys probably understand why I'm not doing the astrology picnic, and I'm sure, not all of you would have gone or could be able to go, but there will be a few of you watching that would want to go. So I'm just going to leave it at that, 30-minute rant session over. I really do love you guys. I know I say that in every video, but I genuinely mean it. Again, I'm trying to stop ranting here, but I genuinely love you guys, and I'm very, very grateful for the audience that I have, for the community that I have created, for the community interaction that you guys are a part of. Because again, it's not just me. It's like I'm just the one. Like for example, there's so many people that became friends because of the astrology picnic. Like, and I still talk to them. Like, they're like, oh, I'm friends with this person. I'm hanging out with this person. It's like, that's just so cool that I have like cool people that want to meet other cool people that make these cool connections. It's just, it really is cool. It really is cool. I've got a moon in Libra here in the 11th house. Like I'm a connector. So with that being said, I really do love and appreciate you guys. I'll be seeing you next time.